Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Who Actually Knows podcast. Happy Wednesday. Happy Whack Wednesday. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I want to ask, if you guys are listening, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's so easy. Literally go to Spotify, go to Apple, give me 5 stars. It helps. I see it. It gives me momentum, which a girl needs at some points. But I want to thank you guys for being here because this is my big 5-0. And a lot of podcasts don't make it to 50. And yes, I maybe should have made it to 50 a few weeks ago, but I'm really excited. And I am really excited because I get to share with all of you guys. And without the little messages, followers, subscribers, I wouldn't feel as fulfilled maybe. Sure, we'll go with that. So this is the 50th episode, and I'm just really excited to be sitting here and chatting you guys up. And I'm going to be honest, this is more of just a, hey, what's up, random episode. I am going to get into something that's been on my mind a little bit more later in the podcast, and it's going to be all about how it's okay to be on your own timeline, a little bit more of comparison. But before that, I just kind of want to not rant. I just kind of want to ramble. I feel like I have a lot of things on my mind, and I'm just going to get them out. And so this is a little kind of a pre-record, but this week was a solar eclipse. And I am going to be honest, I'm not someone who is really big into, I know I'm an Aries, but I'm not big into all of the stars and chakras and alignment, the universe. I definitely think it's very interesting. And if someone's interested in it, I will listen. And they honestly, every time I do read it or look into it, it's always pretty accurate for me. But I was seeing I was about to say I saw something online or I read something, I saw it on TikTok, but how everything's kind of been off because of the solar eclipse. And god damn it, I feel that. Okay, I also have to preface, I have the Aura ring and I've had it for a few years. And yeah, it messes with my psyche because I totally depict my day based off of my readiness score. But I was so down energy wise, and I was sleeping. I had a 9.5 sleep. I had a 9 hours of sleep. So this is Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, I had an 8.5 hour slumber. And I still woke up tired. My readiness score was down. My heart rate was elevated. And when I have those stats, I'm like, screw it. I can't do anything today. I've just got to chill. So that happened the week of the solar eclipse. So I don't know, I'm kind of buying into the bit that something's in the water. And when the whole solar eclipse is going on, it messes with you because I was off. This is Thursday and this is the first day. I woke up and I was like, oh, I have energy. I feel like I'm a human again. I can actually do things and I don't have to just be so tired and groggy. Also, there is something, I think if you sleep too much, you are groggy, and maybe that's something when I'm sleeping 9 and 8 hours. But I also will blame it. I had a really big weekend in San Francisco, and I love being a grandma, but I've been going out once on the weekends, and when I go out, it's pretty tame still. But I feel in San Francisco I was drinking way more than I normally do, and I think my body was yo, Emma, I'm so happy you had fun, but can you never do that again, or maybe give us a little bit of a heads up? I think that was also going on. Anyway, other thing I'm going to ramble about is that it's almost my birthday week and I'm almost 25. My frontal lobe is almost developed. I now have, the ability to make all right decisions or mature decisions, which is just crazy that I'm turning 25. I feel I look 21, and I sometimes feel I'm I don't feel I'm in college, but I feel I'm still in my first year post-grad, age-wise sometimes. And the fact that I'm now 3 years post-grad, that's kind of crazy. But I created a little particle and I sent it out, and my birthday theme, and yes, I love a birthday theme. I think it's so awesome actually for people who have birthdays and are really humble about it and are, low key or they don't want to talk about it. I think that's awesome. I'm just I'm not one of those people. I kind of flirt with the line sometimes. I feel coming up to them oh, I don't want to plan anything, whatever happens, happens. But now that it's almost here and I sent out my partyful and I have a theme, I'm okay, we're going to start making it about my birthday on Sunday. So we only have a few more days before it's my birthday week. So I'm pretty excited. But my theme is only a teeny bit older, and it's like a martini themed party. I was going to have it at my apartment, but we're actually going to go to this really cool cocktail bar for like happy hour. They do happy hour deals. And I'm just going to there's going to be a cake, and I'm going to put up balloons and have olives and cheese and like nuts and like a velvet tapestry, and probably somehow match the dress that I'm wearing to like all my decorations, because why not? And yeah, so I'm getting a teeny bit older, and that is my birthday theme of everything. And I am super excited. I sent it to all my friends in Chicago, all my friends in LA, and I don't have like a huge amount of group of friends in LA that I do in Chicago, obviously because I went to school there. But I am just really excited because all my worlds are going to collide. Everyone's going to get to hang out, and I haven't like really done that in a while. I threw a Christmas party, if you guys remember, and I feel like all my girl groups collided. But like now that we're throwing in like boyfriends and like other people, and like I've invited some coworkers and like things like that, or people I've just like met throughout like my time here. I am really excited. I'll probably be so nervous the day of, just because like that's how it goes. But I am really excited to have that on the horizon. And then after that, next Wednesday, so I guess like literally 6 days from now, I go home for 3 weeks. And don't worry, I'm going to bring all the podcast stuff with me to like do it. I want to do like maybe more of like a vlogging style for one podcast. So we will see how that goes. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going home from April 24th to May 12th, and it's for weddings. And I think because I know I'm going home and I haven't been home in a while, like I'm super excited for that. But something that's been on my mind and kind of was the inspiration for this podcast as well is I'm going home for 2 weddings and a bachelorette. And I'm planning that bachelorette. And it's kind of coming around a time where I'm getting ready to celebrate a lot of people who are my age or a year older than me, like marry the love of their lives. And I feel like I am turning 25, which is like a big age. And like looking back, I'm not on that timeline at all. Like I just went through a really big breakup, and like that was a very serious thing for me. And then, I moved to LA and I quit my job, and I'm starting this whole path. And I really feel like I started over like from square one. And when I go home, I know it's like going to be a little bit interesting to try and like explain that, especially to people from a small town. But it got me kind of comparing. It is about comparison, everyone. Comparison is the thief of joy. But comparing my timeline to others. And that's what I really wanted to talk about, because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, did I make decisions that are setting me back? Even though like 25 is so young, I feel like no matter how old you are, you just like, you always are looking for like what's next, or like, is there more? What else can I do? And you're probably comparing yourself to people who are like 5 years older, etc. And I mean, at one point, I think that's good, because you have to always like look forward and know what you want to look forward to, what you want to work towards, and all of that stuff. But then again, something that is hard is that you are comparing. So like, I can't help but sometimes compare like, oh, my friends are getting married, and I'm kind of starting over in the relationship scene, which is totally fine, and it's literally right with what I want. But then, there is that comparison game. Or even like when friends are like moving up in companies and getting promotions, and I'm like, oh, like I just decided to take like a lateral movement, which like I'm not going to get a promotion or move up like just yet. It'll take a little bit more time and like getting way more experience under my belt. But looking at all that, you're like, am I going fast enough? Am I moving towards the right thing? Am I on the right timeline of life? And especially around this age. And I've really been thinking about that lately. And luckily, like something that has always stuck with me, and I actually just saw something on Pinterest about this, but my mom always said like comparison is the thief of joy. And that like just ran through my mind when I'm like thinking about all of these timelines. Like I think timelines are fake. that also adds to like the anxiety in your 20s when you create this idea that you have to do this by this age and this by this and this by this, or if you're not doing this, you're behind. Like, we create the anxieties around that, and I also have to remind myself of that. But I think there's this idea, you know, like the abundance mindset is something that I really try to hold on to, and it makes me more present, you know, just know that like I live in abundance. I have everything I want, like all of those affirmations, which I'm absolutely horrible at, honestly. I haven't done affirmations in forever, but being able to like stay and be more present and be like, I don't need to constantly look for what's next or who's doing what and why am I not doing that, because in our 20s, you can start over and you can start over and over and over. And I think that's the best part about this age. It's like each year could be like a new door. You know, like you're going to open up that door and it's going to come with so many different experiences and so many different people, or maybe you'll close that door, you know. But I think when you're worried and you're stuck in that mindset of like, am I doing this right or wrong? You're almost blocking opportunities from yourself, and you don't want to be the blocker of your own life. Like, you don't want to sit there and just because you're stressed out about what someone else is doing, you're focusing on that instead of like, what if you like walk or, you know, could have met a new friend, or you could have met a guy or a girl or a relationship, or had a new opportunity, but because you were so anxious in your head, you were blocking out that part of life. And I think that idea scares me more than anything. It scares me more than the anxiety about like maybe not being as far as someone is or this or that. Like, the scariest thing to me about being so young is that we have the energy and the opportunity to do so many things, but the only thing that's going to be blocking us is ourselves. And that is something that I mean, like, genuinely, I don't even know. I want to like put this and have this better worded, but it just scares me that it's not like, what if you are so stressed about like the next thing that your 20s are over and you're like, where did they go? And then you're 30 and you're like, holy shit, I was just constantly looking for like the next best thing. That whole decade flashed by my eyes. And I think the greatest like piece of advice that I keep getting or keep hearing from other people is that like your 20s are your whiteboard. They're the time to start over or make mistakes or do something that scares you, and maybe it'll land you an opportunity, or maybe it won't and you're like back to square one, or maybe you have to like really go through something really hard that opens up a lot of real and like raw and like pure emotions, and you're going to learn from that and take that on through the rest of your life, honestly. And so I think like the main like message that I'm trying to say is like, don't block good things from happening by having anxiety over things that have not and will not happen. Because by comparing yourself to someone else's life, you are creating this like fake expectation. And it is something in our 20s. Like, we're always thinking about more, right? Like, what else can I do? Who else can I meet? Like, is this person doing more than I am? There's always like more, but I think there's a lot of power in like doing less and like worrying about less. And I don't want to say doing less of like, don't try and be an overachiever, because I mean, I am like a perfect example of a type A person who does overachieve, but like doing less comparison and like mental game with others, I think is very beneficial. And like, if you want to compare yourself, why don't you compare yourself to like who you were like last month or 3 weeks ago or maybe a year ago, and you're like, okay, like how can I make myself better from like that point? Don't like look at someone and be like, how can I get to where they are? Because you don't even know if that's exactly what they like. Everyone is going through something different, and some they're on their own timelines, and they have different aspirations, and they've had different life experiences even than you have had. And so I really wanted to get on and talk about that and just be like, don't be the blocker of your life, because I mean, honestly, that just like scares me to death. Like, imagine if, you know, I just started this new job and it's opened up a lot of different things. I'm literally like making friends with someone who I met at a work show. And, you know, like, I hope it goes great. I hope this relationship is a great one. But imagine if I was like so stuck in my head that I blocked that out and I didn't get the opportunity to go and talk to her, or like didn't say yes to the introduction that I got. Like, there are so many things, and it's like I wouldn't have been able to learn, or, you know, to not learn or fail or cry. But every single thing is like authentic and like true to you. And just remember that comparison is a thief of joy. I have to remember it too, that the timelines are fake, and to stop worrying about more, and one, worry less, but remember that like you live in abundance, and like the mindset that you have going forward, you are in control of. And yeah, this is also just like a mental reminder for me as like I turn 25, because and it's also something I realize when I call my friends from back home, or I'm catching up with someone who I haven't seen in a while, and I can like just see their life on social media, and I'm like, everything looks great. Like, you are doing so much, you look so happy. But then like when you get into the nitty gritty, like everyone has like something that maybe like they're in a rut or a bad mood, or like just they feel like something's holding them back. And like you don't see that on social media. So it's like you comparing your life to an idea of what other people have is unproductive, because it's not realistic, the way that like any social media is not realistic. You know, like today I put on a full face of makeup and curled my hair. This like look is not always realistic for me. Half the time, especially when I was working remote, it was like a grease back slick bun and sweats only. Sweats that I probably wore like a few days in a row, if I'm being completely honest. Like, you know, everything has its own, I don't know, it's not always realistic. So something to think about. So I hope you guys can relate, or just find that like very helpful. Remember, your timeline is your timeline. The 20s are made for you to start over and over and over. I did it. I am going through it. Maybe I'll do it again. Like, I'm only 25. It's like 5 years of these 20s before I have to throw a funeral and then go into my 30s, which is crazy. But I heard the 30s are the new 20s, but I think everyone says that about every decade. But I'll hold on to it because I think it's right. But thank you guys. If you guys made it this far, if you guys made it to episode 50 and you listened to my very first episode, I'm so happy you guys are here. I want to continue putting out episodes that you guys want as well. So you can, on Spotify, in the show notes, like, say what you want to listen to, what you thought of the episode. I do read all of them. Like, subscribe, DM me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, all of the things. But again, thank you guys so much, because without you guys listening, this would not be a thing. And with that, I will talk to you guys next week. Bye, guys.